So we're glad to have you with us on the program today. And I've got with me Wendy Selvig from Colorado Springs. How are you, Wendy?
Hey, Daniel. So great to be here again.
Yes, and we just did yesterday's program where we were able to discuss this powerful new discovery. It's an all-natural discovery called Flax hull lignans. You guys told us about the beginning, the whole beginning of the company, the helping of the AIDS orphans in Africa, and the scientific discovery, all the rounds of testing, this flax hull lignan, which is now renovating the lives of people. Can you just give us a quick overview of this flax hull lignan?
Yeah, well, I'd like to encourage people to go back and listen to an archive of yesterday's show if they get a chance, just to find out our beginnings and where we came from. But we work in South Africa and Swaziland and in a few other African nations predominantly. We work with people who are really, really very ill with HIV and AIDS, and we've been looking for an answer for a long time because we're not against any kind of pharmaceutical answer if there was one, but there just doesn't seem to be the right answer. In the third world countries, at least in where we work, 80% of the people are in rural areas. There's no hospitals, there's no electricity even, and a lot of the retrovirals and the things that are offered, first of all, they can't afford them. Second of all, they can't walk 15 miles to the nearest hospital because they're sick and laying in their huts. And so we've just been needing an answer, and we found this extract that comes from the shell of flaxseed that is boosting their immune system so high their CD4 counts skyrocket, which is the measurement of immunity in their blood. Those CD4 counts, they just skyrocket, and the viral loads plummet, and they see immediate results like within 6 weeks. They see their viral loads, many of them go to non-detectable within 6 weeks. And so they're able to have this little jar of powder they can keep in their hut on the floor in hot Africa, and there's no requirements except that they just dump a little bit in their food every day, and it's bringing them back healthy. They're able to go back to work. Their soreness and their sore spots are disappearing, their achiness, and they're able to sleep through the night for the first time. And we're just seeing such amazing things happen that we're just kind of wanting to tell the world, hey, there is an answer right now for this problem of AIDS. It may not be the ultimate end-all cure, but it's absolutely changing the lives of people in Africa.
So what you're saying is that this flax hull lignan, this all-natural extract out of the shell of the flaxseed, this thing is renovating or changing the lives of people who are dying of AIDS. We've heard about AIDS here for decades. And anyone who's ever been to Africa sees the cemeteries are full, the hospitals are full, and people are just, I don't know, maybe living, once they are HIV positive, they live 2 to 5 years, and then they're gone. And you're telling us now that this flax lignan is changing the lives and extending the lives of AIDS patients?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I work, actually, I end up going over to Africa quite often, and one of the things that always strikes me is seeing signs on the street corner saying funeral services, and how, like, you just see that everywhere, and it's just this feeling of death, really, in these places, because there's so much sickness and death that they call it an apathetic society, I believe, that the way that the people end up just living their lives, because why should I work hard for tomorrow? I'm going to die tomorrow. I mean, they live only day by day by day, and it's very different than here in the United States. It's sad, and so it's so amazing to us because we've introduced, in at least 30 different places, we've introduced these flax lignans, and we have seen this apathetic idea, just change, and people are like, they have life in their eyes, and they're excited, and they want to go back to work, and they have hope again, and so it's really, really making a difference. It's really changing lives, and we feel like we're the only ones who know about it. The people really need to know. There is an answer for this. And what's so awesome is that this is the flax whole lignans is what it's called, has such an immune boosting effect. It's not just for people with HIV. Anyone who has a sickness, I would encourage to try this, because we did some trials. We did trials, 2 rounds of studies in the United States, 100 people each, and there were various illnesses from diabetes, osteoporosis, cancer, cardio problems, HIV as well, and we had unbelievable results. And basically it stems from the immune system just revving up and being strong and kicking its own disease, whatever sickness it's dealing with. And then we did a test over in South Africa with 100 people with HIV, and I'll tell you that 97% of the people had significant results. Their viral loads dropped. Many of those dropped to non-detectable. Their CD4 counts all raised. And to be quite honest, we had 100 people in the test, and 3 of those people passed away within days of starting the test. They were really too far to even get started on it. So it's like a near everybody has a great, response from the flax whole lignans in their system.
Wendy, I've got a clip here from back in 2005 when you guys were doing tests in Swaziland. And I've got a registered nurse here who I'd like to play this clip just to verify what you're saying. She was in charge of, I think, 70-some children plus
Emma, Emma.
19 children who were HIV positive and dealing with AIDS all the time. Let's listen to her for just a second. She's going to give a little testimonial here about the Flax program.
I'm Emma Fisherlock. I'm a registered nurse from the UK, from England. I've been over here in Swaziland for 10 months now, looking after 19 children, orphan children there who have been affected by the HIV epidemic here. I also look after 73 children of preschool age, health-wise, and I've introduced the Flax program to them as well as our children on the farm. I've noticed amazing things with these children. I started the program in November '05, and a lot of the results that we've pulled from these groups within 2-3 months of the Flax being introduced have seen massive changes in height and in weight and in general health status, which is awesome and exciting from my point of view. Has decreased my workload, which has been fantastic. No, but it's just been good to see these children just grow and become nutritionally more healthy and a lot more vibrant than when I first came, where I was seeing them maybe twice a week, health-wise, with the different kinds of infections. So it's good to testify that I've seen great things with this product, and hoping to see more changes as the time goes on.
There's a great testimony right there with Emma. Wow. So she was seeing kids, instead of coming to her multiple times a week, the kids that had AIDS were staying out on the playground, as I understand, and the kids without AIDS were coming in for flus and colds and coughs.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I believe they started giving the flax lignans to all the children, if I remember right.
Wow.
And that's one of the things, too, with her and other nurses that we worked with. They all report the same, too. Is after about 6 weeks of being on the flax lignans, the children's, they're malnourished over there, typically. So a 4-year-old may come in the size, it's really sad, but they come in like the size of a 2-year-old, because their bodies haven't grown and they haven't got the nourishment they need to really grow. And then they'll get on these flax lignans, and after about 6 weeks, they just start shooting up like centimeters a month. They're growing. And the nurses all love that, just because it's like, the kids are starting to be the normal size, that they're supposed to be, and it's very exciting.
Wendy, there is a lady, we have an interview clip here. She is dealing with she's talking about a little girl named Letitia who's at their orphanage there in South Africa. And little Letitia, I guess, came in full-blown AIDS, very, very sick, and something dramatic happened to her life. I'm going to play this clip and then let you respond to it right here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
That is Letitia. Letitia came here and she was AIDS positive. They warned us that she is very ill. And we have tested her 3 times after Flax, and she shows 3 times negative. So she's really our little star, and next year she's going to be in the 1st grade school. She is at the moment in the preschool.
What a powerful testimonial right here from a South African orphanage. Letitia was AIDS, dying of AIDS, and right after the Flax program, she came back with 3 tests of HIV negative.
Yes. I know that orphanage very personally, and I know of the girl that they're talking of. And what's exciting for me is the opportunity to share this with your listeners, because it's so exciting. This is not just a single one little incident. This is happening all over. Any of the orphanages that are using the Flax Lignans, they are seeing these results, and it's so exciting to be a part of something that is actually making a difference in these kids' lives. We're hearing reports from several of the orphanages where the kids have been on it for a few years, that they go in and they actually test HIV negative, which that's just unheard of. And if you tell a doctor or a nurse that, they go, "What? No. I mean, yeah, like, do you know what HIV negative means?" And it's like, yes, I know. There's no antibodies even showing up in their bloodstream. It's, whether or not they've kicked it, whether or not they would, they're going to be free from that forever, I don't know. But that's what's happening. They're testing HIV negative, and that is fascinating, and it has very large implications. It's really exciting what's going on.
This is huge news. This is groundbreaking, earth-shaking news, Wendy, to hear that there's something actually all natural, considered a food-based, seed-based product that a person could ingest. They could just take a teaspoon of it, and that it has the potential of stripping AIDS, HIV off their lives, or reducing cancer, eliminating prostate cancer, breast cancer. This is nothing less than a 21st century miracle, in my opinion.
I know, and it really, if you want to apply it to your own life and see how would this possibly help you if you have a sickness of some kind. The FDA actually even said in one of their meetings, and we have this on a quote that you could get off of our website. They actually said that Flax Lignans, they are antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. And I don't know about you, but those are like the 3 basic things that I know of that cause any illness. I mean, those are the things that, fungal things are really hard to kick. And I can tell you from personal experience, I mean, I didn't have any major illness, but my big thing was I got athlete's foot in college, and I'd had it for 15 years, and I started the Flax Lignans, and I have not had a single bout of athlete's foot in the last 4 years. It's just gone. And so, I mean, I can testify to the fungal part of it. But antivirus, antibacterial, those are things you get antibiotics for. Those are things you go to the doctor for. I'm not telling anyone not to go to the doctor. Please, go to the doctor. But I'm just saying that this is something natural that it's really, really effective and really a strong thing, being that it's a food-based thing. If you'd like to find out more information about the Lignans and get this, we have a report that you can get that just has pages of documentation from places like PubMed and doctors and just it has a lot of information. You can get it at our website. It's AIDS, HIVawareness.org. And when you get there, a pop-up will show up with a box, and you can put your email address in, and it will be sent to you right away. And then once you get into the site, there is a link that has testimonials and research on it, and you can just go through pages and pages of all the testimonials and read those for yourself as well.
And so that's AIDS, HIVawareness.org, AIDS, HIV awareness.org, okay? Thank you, Wendy. And I want to encourage everyone to get out there and get that report. Now, Wendy, I know that these Lignans are available. There's people in Australia that are purchasing them, and people in Hong Kong and the USA. They're just readily available. And I think some health food stores are getting hold of the understanding of lignans,
Yeah.
but I believe they're available online. Can you tell people exactly how do they find these flax lignans for themselves?
Yeah, well, we don't sell them. As far as, AIDS Research and Assistance does not sell the lignans. We buy them ourselves, and we provide them. We raise money and donate them to these orphanages. There are a lot of different companies out there online. You can Google to find that sell them. You want to do a search for Flax Hull, Hull, Lignans. And then the only little thing I like to interject is that there are some companies, some based out of China and whatnot, that they do a different kind of extraction process, and we're concerned about that process because it's chemical, and it leaves chemical residues in the product. It also kills all the enzymes, and when you look at it, it's apples to oranges. It is not the same thing, and it's not what we tested. So we've seen our quotes from our website and our testing on other products that are not the same thing, and so we just kind of like to let people know that. So there is a process that is done here in the United States that extracts the lignans, and it keeps the enzymes alive, and it makes sure, it's the kind that we actually did our testing on, and it's called MCP. So the MCP process. You might look that up, and then any stores you find that are selling flax hull lignans with MCP process, you've got the same thing.
So MCP, Mary, Charlie, Paul, MCP process guarantees that flax lignan has been extracted with that secretive, powerful, cold milled extraction process. And
right.
Wendy, you've mentioned...
There's no chemicals involved. You
right.
just know there's no chemicals involved.
And you've mentioned also that a lot of the guys out there that they're saying that they're providing this product, they're only extracting one lignan, but
oh, that's right.
The power,
yes,
my understanding is the power of this lignan that has been tested is that there's 17 different lignans that somehow miraculously work together inside the human body to provide this supercharge of the immune system. Is that right?
Yeah, I was told, I think it was from scientists up in North Dakota, one of the universities up there, said that it's the working together of all these 17 lignans. Some of them are just trace, some of them are just little, but they work together to really boost your immune system. And so what's happening is some companies, there's one major lignans called SDG, and it is known to do a lot of really great things, but then there's these 16 others that aren't included. So these other companies, they just take the one SDG lignan, and that's all they're selling is that one lignan. And then you're not getting that complex, nature of these 17 things working together. That's another thing that just makes it different than what it is we tested. I just don't want people to get something that's a knockoff. It's not really the pure product. I don't want them to get something that's not going to do for them what they could get if they get the flax hull lignans that are from a cold milled extraction process.
Yeah, and I think, Wendy, that the problem is that there's many companies that are trying to extract this lignan process, and they just can't do it. Medical science has been trying for 25 years to figure this out, and there's one farmer who owns a company in North Dakota, and he's the only guy that's figured it out. And so
right.
his process, I guess his process is an MCP process, and with his certification, you're getting the real stuff. So
that's right.
No one else
so
has
just
been
look
able.
For it.
Yeah, they haven't been able to figure that out. Well, so AIDS Research now is sending these lignans over into Africa. I've got a couple of studies here in front of me. One of them says that South Africa and Swaziland, where AIDS Research is working, South Africa is one of the hardest hit nations in the world with AIDS, HIV, up to 40%. There's a couple different numbers out there, but up to 40% of the people in South Africa are infected with HIV. And when I look here at Swaziland, there's numbers all over the board, but the fact is that Swaziland is between 40 to 60% infected. Their entire working class is infected, as well as many of the babies or the children that are born into HIV positive parents. And I'm showing here that back when AIDS Research was starting to work with with Swaziland that there was 1.3 million people and reducing. Now they're down to 900,000 people in Swaziland.
Actually, the latest I heard was in the 750,000.
Oh, my goodness. What's
Yeah.
happening here? What needs to happen, Wendy?
Well, I can tell you as someone who's been to Swaziland, personally, I was actually just there 2 months ago, and it's amazing. One of the biggest things there is that there's no working class. I mean, there's no people my age. We've got little children and we've got grandmas and grandpas, but there's the people in their 30s and 40s and 50s are just not there. And the understanding is that they've all passed away. That's the AIDS epidemic. And so it's overwhelming when you're there in the middle of it and you see, oh my gosh, and they say if something does not change for Swaziland, that by 2050 there will be no Swaziland.
No Swaziland.
And so
you're saying
there'll
that
be no people left. So what really needs to happen is someone needs to come in with some answers for this country, and all the money, all the funding, everything, all these big grants and these big organizations and foundations. They pour their money into education, so they want to help people not get AIDS. However, there's no answer for the people who have already gotten it. And for Swaziland, they don't need, sure they need education, but they need something much bigger. They need an answer. And so we're actually looking at going in and supplying an answer to Swaziland to help them to renovate the immune systems and help these people. And do you have a clip? I think you said you might have had a clip from one of the ladies we interviewed in Swaziland just 2 months ago.
I've got 2 clips here that have been provided, and these ladies have been on the Flax Lignans, I believe, just for a few months. You provided the clip. Let's listen to what she said.
This is a Swazi lady who's had AIDS, I think, for like 10 years and have never seen her CD4 counts move.
Okay, so she's been on the ARVs. The CD4 counts have never moved. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And then she got on the Flax, and I think she's going to tell about what happened within 30 days. Here we go.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
My name is Tulima Buza. I'm a caregiver at Timbutini Care Point. And I started the Flax in September 12th. And my CD4 count at the time was 650. And when I go for the second time in early November, and it's 950, so I think it's helping a lot. And usually when I start bleeding, I used to have the numbness, but now this month when I bleed, the numbness was not like before, so it's better than before. I think it's helping me very much.
All right, and so there's the first one. So her CD4 counts were 650. 1 month later.
2 months later.
Oh, 2 months later it was 950?
Yeah.
Okay, so
her numbness went away. She said her numbness was going away. And they commonly were telling me they had numbness in their limbs, and they would have soreness, sore spots, and they couldn't sleep at night. And those were the 3 things that they all were saying, that we were interviewing, were saying had changed in their lives just within the last month or 2.
So again, you're saying that these people were seeing very quick results. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and that fits within our 6 to 9 week period is when we see the major results happen.
Wonderful. Well, here's the next clip we have. This lady, I believe her name is Milani, and she had an interpreter here. So she's speaking in Swazi, and then the interpreter lady is going to interpret for her. Let's see what she had to say.
My name is Xolile Smelane. The Flax really helped me in my life, and thank you so much for it. Before the Flax, my skin had some rash and I was weak. And my CD4 count wasn't going up before I get the Flax, yet I was taking ARVs.
CD4 but nginele kutfola le Flax imbela ngathi nangiyochecka ngakhanza ikhuphuke kakhulu.
Yabangana.
Yes, 306.
And before I took the Flax, I had a CD4 count of 91. After the Flax, I went to the doctor. Then my CD4 count went up to 306.
Okay, so her CD4 count from 91 to 306, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just within a 6 to 9 week period there. And she had been on the ARVs for 10 years and had her CD4 count had never gone up. So for her, the ARV solution wasn't working. We're not saying, of course, that it doesn't work for everybody, but for her it wasn't. And she got on the Flax, which just started boosting her natural immune system. And within 2 months, her count started rising. And what we've seen, too, is we've had nurses who oversee these tests and trials, and they'll show us the charts. The CD4 counts keep going. You know, like Karen Parker, the testimony we had yesterday, which I encourage anyone to go back and listen to that show from yesterday. Like Karen, you know, her CD4 count was so low and then just continued to rise and rise and rise. And her viral loads went the opposite direction. And so for this, I'm excited for these gals in Swaziland because this is just the beginning for them. They've seen their counts start to raise, but all, you know, indications show that they will continue to raise, and they'll get better and better.
Wendy, this is a miracle in the making, and I know that you are open to other organizations getting involved, providing Lignans into grassroots locations. But what needs to be done? In 30 seconds, what has to be done, or what can people do to help?
Well, first of all, just in that short period of time to contact us, go to our website, that's AIDSHIVawareness.org, and contact us and let us know you'd like to be involved somehow. We do need funding. We're always sending container loads over to these orphanages and stuff, and there's always more people who need it and want it and are begging us for it, and we can't supply it. So if any funds at all that could go to it, just donates directly to donating them. So, and then just your prayers and your just your support, you know, in any way. Like I said, just contact us and let us know if you'd like to be a part of what we're doing.
Thanks. Wendy Selvig with AIDS Research and Assistance Institute. What a miracle in the making. God bless you.